Hey, everybody. Welcome to Soul Chats with Psychic Medium Dani Jo. Tonight, I have no guest, so I am going to have a chat with you about spirituality, spiritual awakening, spiritual development, and all things spiritual. So I'm going to back up a little bit and give you a kind of a recap of how my spiritual awakening happened, how I focused on learning about spirituality and what that meant in my life. So if you're joining me, say hello. I'm going to pop up my other screen here so that I can see who's live with me. And also let me know where you're finding me live. I am not finding this in my group. Hey, Jessica, did you find me on the Psychic Medium page? There we go. All right. Strange. It should have went into my group, but it is on the page, so we're going to run with it. Hey, Brandy. You were referred by a friend. Awesome. Thanks, Lori. Thanks for letting me know. Funny enough, it shows all your names, which isn't typical for StreamYard. So I may have done something different than normal, but either way, it's nice to see you tonight. So this is my makeup podcast from when I was not feeling well. And I have no guest scheduled tonight. So you get me solo. And I want to talk just a little bit about spiritual path and what that means. So most of you have probably heard the term spiritual awakening, spirituality, and how that differs from maybe religion is that every one of us is a spiritual being. And at some point in our life, we're going to have this little nagging feeling on our shoulder, or like someone is trying to tell us something. And that is our connection to our spirituality and spirit guides and guardians wanting to remind you that you have a purpose greater than what you think that you have. So spirituality is our soul knowing that we're here for something greater and that we have a life purpose that we have come to accomplish that is for the greater good of people, humanity, and also for ourselves. So what does it mean to have a spiritual awakening? This can happen in many ways. My first spiritual awakening that I remember having would have been when we had our head-on car accident in 2004. And I remember after that accident that we should not have survived, thinking that there is something more. There's still a reason that I'm here. And that was kind of the first crack of the door for me, opening that door to understanding that there was something more to life. And it was probably another 10 years really before I had another aha moment from that spiritual awakening moment of the car accident. Little things started happening in my life. I met a guy from Belfouche that was a medium, had a few readings, kind of learned about essential oils and stress management through meditation. And so that kind of put me on a little path to spiritual awakening. And then when I was doing daycare and I was doing a fundraiser for one of the kids that I watched in daycare. And I actually met a medium who told me that I was a medium. And that was kind of that last straw type situation where I couldn't deny any further that there was something more in life that I was supposed to be doing, and was pretty excited about it. Until, all the spiritual things started happening. And then Spirit was like, hey, remember, you still have to do your healing too. Those of you on a spiritual awakening know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, that is a spiritual awakening. It's a time in life when you start to remember or feel the connection to something more than your everyday life. Your life might be good, yet you feel like something just doesn't feel right. I feel off. So I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something else. And that can feel very confusing, because you might have a good life, good partner, kids. And yes, you might think that you are going crazy. Oftentimes people will think that this is like a midlife crisis. So know that it's not, and it's most likely a spiritual awakening. And hello, everybody that's joining me. I did something wrong tonight, and I am on my public page, not my private group. So hopefully we don't get anybody that I need to ban on this page, because this is where the scammers and spammers find us. So if you get a message from anyone, do not answer it. A message asking you for a reading or telling you that they're drawn to you, because this is something that they like to do on the public page, which is why I never go live here, and I don't know how I did. But anyway, here we are. The healing is worth it, but it is very hard, Jamie. It is very hard. And at times it feels a little bit defeating, like you want to give up. And I always tell people, don't give up, because if you do, the darkness wins, right? And I don't want the darkness to win. That's the last thing I want to happen. So yeah, right? Somebody was meant to hear something. Also, I can see all of your names, which is not what happens in my closed group. So the other thing is, let's talk about purpose, okay? Purpose, everyone that is born into this world has a purpose. Whether your purpose is for someone else's healing, your own healing, or both, there's a reason that you're here. And oftentimes people will think that they need a career change because they're not happy with their job or fulfilling their life purpose. But truly, you can actually fulfill your life purpose without having it be the job that you do. So have you ever met somebody who was always just so kind, whether they worked at Walmart or elementary school, somebody who maybe it wouldn't have the ideal job, but they were always just such a good person? They are spreading love and light in the world. That is their purpose. They don't have to be on stage making millions, inspiring thousands of people to be fulfilling their life purpose. They are spreading love and light to other people. And this is everyone's purpose. Everyone's purpose is to create good and positivity and love and light in the world, acceptance and happiness, and doing for others and supporting each other, and not hoarding and all for me type of mentality that we have been taught is normal. And, if you feel like you don't have a reason or a purpose, you have to figure out how to get your connection to spirit back. Because spirit always tells me, if you feel disconnected, you're the one that has separated from spirit. And it's important that you spend more time and energy in meditation, in connection to spirit, believing in yourself, loving yourself. Love is the greatest power and light there is. That's right. Unconditional love. Many people think that they love people unconditionally, and they don't. Or they love people and their family unconditionally, yet they cast judgment on lots of other people. And it's so hard, because as human beings, that judgment has been taught to us very early on, and it has a powerful impact over us and what we think of other people. If you pay attention on a daily basis to everything you think, from the cars driving next to you, to the people in line in front of you at the grocery store, to someone you talk to on the phone. You're judging each of those persons a little bit. And notice your judgment, because that's the only way to change that. We read a book recently in my sanctuary group called Grow a New Body. And it's a fantastic book by Alberto Villoldo. But one of the tips in there he gives you is, witness your judgment, but also reframe it. So when the car drives past you, driving fast, and you're irritated, and normally you would think, yeah, go on, asshole, get that ticket, or whatever it is you would think. Instead, say, I bless you, my friend, or safe travels, my friend. And it's so crazy because I've started doing that, and it makes me smile, and I feel happy when I do it. And this person has no knowledge of whether I would have cussed him out or sent him with a blessing. But energetically, they'll feel it, even if their conscious mind doesn't know that. But it makes me feel good, and that's amazing. So anyway, something to think about. Never had unconditional love ever. So Lena, there's not a lot of people in this world who know how to love unconditionally. If you've ever had a pet, you know unconditional love. And once you learn to love yourself and accept yourself wholly and fully, this will give you that unconditional love for sure. Oh, nice. It's a learned behavior, Jamie. One thing, I have this gnat in here that's driving me nuts. Oh, it's going to fly in my mouth while I'm talking. One thing you have to think about is from the minute you're born, actually before you're born, you're being labeled and judged. A big baby, a small baby, a slow baby, a very alert baby. There's all these judgments from the very minute we're born. And then all through our growing up years, we're judged on where we're at on our abilities, rather than just letting us grow and learn into our own person. And so from those judgments, then we begin to judge other people. And the only way to change that is to change the thought process. And it's probably not even that it's something that bugs you. It's just a learned behavior. Definitely a learned behavior. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was spiritual tools. I know a lot of people who are in their spiritual awakening, and they start hearing about tarot cards and rituals and Palo Santo and sage, and this gets confusing, or the word witchcraft terrifies them. And what I like to tell people is that just like any other part of life, you have tools for something. A teacher has workbooks and lessons that are her tools. A carpenter has hammer and nails that is their tools. A mechanic has wrenches. I mean, we have tools for everything. A sewer has needles and thread. We have tools for everything. And so the tools we use in spirituality are just like that. They're an added bonus or a crutch, if you want to see it as a crutch. But these tools just help us with our connection. And we as a society have disconnected from the earth, which is our natural mother, our natural energy conductor. We don't walk barefoot anymore. The ground is covered in concrete, and we don't get a lot of time outdoors. So we have to use tools to make those connections happen. And your tools are going to be things like tarot cards, oracle cards, pendulums, earth healing rituals, magic rituals, pendants, crystals, clearing stuff like sage and Palo Santo, crystal jewelry. I could probably go on and on about all the different tools there are in the spiritual community, but none of these tools are bad. If you are nervous to try them, recognize that you're nervous because of the way that it's labeled. So I read something today that talks about, it was in this book I'm reading right now, about how a ritual sounds scary to someone when they're thinking about it being a witchcraft ritual or a magic ritual. Yet you have rituals that you do every day in your life. You just don't call them rituals. You get up and you make your coffee and you scroll on Facebook. That's a ritual. You plan your outfit for a special event. That's a ritual. So everything we do in life is a ritual. It has intention behind it. And rituals for healing or creating good in the world don't have to be scary. When you pray for someone, this is a ritual. So it's the words that often confuse people, but just know that there is good and bad in the world regardless of what it is. So if you're thinking about magic or spells, know that there are dark people in the spiritual community just as there are in doctors and lawyers and police officers and your next door neighbors. It's a person's choice to do good or bad in the world. It's not the magic or the tools that make people bad. It's their own choices. People have been using lunar phases forever to schedule things. That's right. Absolutely. You are 100% correct. 100% correct. Lena, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Tarot cards would not be equivalent to a Ouija board, but let me tell you how this can be different. A Ouija board, people know that they're buying this to try to connect with the dead, okay? So their mind's intention is that that's what's going to happen. Now, when they sit down to do this, it's usually under fun circumstances. They think they're going to have a great time, perform a little seance, and hopefully connect with a spirit, yet they don't know how to do it properly to protect themselves. And so they open a door to darkness sometimes, not every time, but they don't know how to close that door. So the little board has the little goodbye, and people think if you just go to goodbye, this ends that, and it doesn't. And so when people are using tarot cards or pendulums, this is very much like a Ouija board because we're intending to connect with spirit, but we're intending to connect to our spirit guides. So there's a difference in the intention, first of all. Second, if you have someone who's going to use a pendulum or cards, they often have a little bit of spiritual knowledge, and they oftentimes will protect themselves before they do any divination work. So there's a bit of a difference, even though they might be seen as the same type of tool. Okay. So can a Ouija board be used safely? Absolutely. I've done it with my paranormal team with lots of protection around us, but I don't recommend it. And I've never had a connection with something dark through a pendulum or oracle or tarot cards. So just a person's knowledge and education is important. Yeah. So Lena, one of the easiest and best things that you can do is to put your feet on the ground, close your eyes, imagine that you're growing roots deep down into the earth. So this is grounding you. Okay. And then you imagine that you are covered or surrounded by white light. And then in your mind or out loud, you would say, I only connect with spirits of the light. And then you can use your cards. And you can do that every single time. Or you could repeat the Archangel Michael prayer if you liked that. That's also a good protection tool. But don't go into it with fear, because fear is also a low vibration, and fear will bring dark things. Use your cards and be confident in it. You're welcome. You're welcome. So one of the things I want to explain to you also about spiritual, hey Steph, hey Bobby, one thing I want to tell you about spiritual path is that we're all at a different place on our journey. So imagine that we're all like kids in school. You've got kindergartners clear up to graduates, and we're all on earth at the same time. So you have some souls here that are just beginning their journey in spiritual development, and you have some souls who are more advanced. And that is the only difference in our souls, okay, is this amount of development we've encountered through our reincarnation and how many times we've been to Earth. So the thing that is the same is that every single one of us is born with the light inside of us, okay? And that light inside of us is our divine connection to spirit and connection to each other. and our ability to do anything we want in this lifetime or become anything we want. Okay. So in that sense, we are all the same. We are all a spiritual divine being who has the ability to grow and become anything we want. So just know that when you look at other people and you think, man, I wish I had that, or I wish I could be that, you can. You absolutely can through your own dedication and development. So whatever it is you want, put your sights on it and go get it, and don't let anything stop you. I like reading the cards, but somebody said, oh, that's witchcraft. I didn't know you did that. So that's a person's perception, and you can choose to respond. You can choose to ignore that. I would definitely tell that person that that is their perception, but that cards are a tool to help you connect with guides and guardians, and helps you stay on track with knowing where you need to be or the guidance you need to hear. And, they may argue with you. So if it's not worth bringing it up to them, you can just let it go. I don't let other people's opinions or ideas affect me anymore. Takes a lot to get to that place, but I'm very confident in what I believe in and what I feel like is true for me, and nothing will change that for me, but it's taken me years to get there for sure. Hey, Crystal, thanks for joining. I'm not doing any readings tonight, but thank you for joining me. Bless and release. That's right. That's right. Awesome. Well, does anybody have any questions on spirituality, spiritual development, spiritual tools, life purpose? That little gnat just loves all of this light. Not me, the light on the wall. That was kind of funny. Hey, Lena, so that can actually just be a premonition. Life purpose, do they go sequentially? Tell me what you mean by that. Do they go sequentially? Oh, like your life path is number 9. So you're asking, like, are you getting close to being done? So I don't know that I would say that they go sequentially. I think life path is more based on your birth date, what your goal is this time around. So I would tell you that you're probably not done, Jamie. But you could be getting close, maybe. I don't feel like the life path numbers are telling us when we're getting close to done. I think it has to do just solely with this lifetime. But I also don't know all the answers. Hi, Nina. Hi, Lacey. I did know what you were getting to. Lena, those repetitive numbers that you're seeing are angel signs. That is another part of spiritual awakening that is telling you that you are here for something more. So nobody can tell you what your life purpose is, Lena. You have to think about what's happened to you in your life, and you have to think about what's happened to you in your life and decide what you want to do with that to help other people. How can you create change in the world? But you have to work on yourself to be confident. You have to love yourself. So that's a part of it too before you get to life purpose. Because if you're so overwhelmed, then, you're not going to be able to get there. Hello, please, I want to know, will my sister become a better person? She changed a lot. I don't feel that she loves me anymore. She repeats all things I tell her. I feel I don't know her. You know, I don't know if it's Jasmine or Yasmin. I'm guessing Jasmine. But I want to tell you that you cannot control other people and what they choose to do in life. This is a hard part of the reality, especially of family. The only thing you can do is choose to decide how you respond to it. And you don't have to take those things personal. Again, that's going back to a self-love thing of loving yourself enough that you don't need your validation from anyone else. And, you know, it's oftentimes necessary to set boundaries with people. And it's okay to do that. We've all had to do that at some point in our life or will. And as hard as it is, sometimes it's necessary. And people change. They don't always change for the better. So that's a free will thing on whether or not they change for the better or worse. And I couldn't tell you if she'll become a better person because that's all up to her free will. Hey, Amber, your life path number is, you add up your birth date, the month, the day, and the year, and then bring it down to a single digit. So if you've got 22, it would be a 4. And then you can Google life path numbers, and it will tell you what your life path is. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Jamie. Have a great rest of your day. So one more thing I'll chat about before we get finished up here. I want to talk about the different services that I do. I have oftentimes a lot of questions about my services and what service to choose. So let me talk about that. Jessica, I do have a great book for beginners on their spiritual journey. My favorite one currently to recommend is Ask Your Guides by Sonia Choquette. She is a fantastic teacher and author, and she tells you how to connect and work with your spirit guides. So that would be the one I would recommend currently. Otherwise, there are so many good books out there, but that one is a go-to for me often. Hey, David. So on my website, you will find different services. The first one being private reading. And private reading just simply means we might do mediumship to connect with loved ones. We might do what you need to hear in your life, psychic information. And it also can be a combination of things. Every time I work with someone, I ask them before we get started what they are hoping to get out of their session as far as, do you want life guidance? Do you want to hear from loved ones? So even if you've booked one thing and have changed your mind, I'm always going to touch base with you on that anyway. And then life guidance reading is more, I'm going to be pulling cards and connecting with your energy and seeing what it is that you need to hear at this time in your life. So mentoring is also another service. And mentoring is what someone would choose who wants to focus on their spiritual path, wants to know what their gifts and abilities are, needs help with meditation or learning something new. So that would be mentoring. And soul retrieval work is a pretty cool session that includes energy work, clearing the chakras. But soul retrieval work is where I travel into the non-ordinary reality with the bear and the eagle. And I go to places where your soul has disconnected. So traumas, traumatic events cause a piece of your soul to disconnect. And I travel to retrieve those for you. Can bring a sense of wholeness afterwards. Also, we accept and visualize those parts of you coming back. And that can be very cool. Energy healing can be a combination of things. I use shamanic techniques. I use things from Catholic tradition, Native American tradition, Reiki. And so I use a lot of different techniques based on what a client's needs are and beliefs are, and also what I'm finding as I work on them. So when I work on my clients, I usually work hands-on unless it's requested not to. And your sacral or your chakra system will tell me where you have stored energy from traumas or past life events. I often will see spirit guides with you. And so that can be a very varying situation or session. Every single time it can be different. Spirit guide session is going to connect to your spiritual team. Anywhere from 1 to 5 guides will step forward, and I will tell you who they are, what they look like, and what they're working with you on. Age regression healing is when I take you into the physical body to where you have stored painful memories from this lifetime, but earlier ages. And we go back and we give forgiveness. And the past life regression is the same, but we go back into past lives for that. I have you relax, meditate, focus on the body, and go back. There's some people who can't visualize. We can do some of the work in a different way. And I can also just do past life information for you if you want to know about your past lives, but you don't want to go back and do the healing work. So there's a lot of different sessions that I offer. I also do house clearings. So if you're having spiritual activity or feel uneasy, or you buy a new house, I can go through and clear and bless it for you. And I also do group sessions. So I do them in my office, and I also travel to people's locations. So you can do that like with your work people, or you can do that with your family or friends at your home. So lots of different services that I offer, but also know that, we can do combination things all the time. And oftentimes we do. I always let spirit guide me, even if you have an intention. They sometimes have a different intention, and spirit is who I work for. Even though you're booking the session, they are the boss. So just something to think about. And yeah, you're welcome, Jessica. Hi, Rochelle. Hi, Lizzie. Thanks for joining. I don't typically go live on my public page, but my closed group is where I'm normally at. So if you're not in the closed group, go join that so you don't miss my next podcast. Are premonitions equivalent to intuitiveness? I'm on the highway. I can tell you 5 to 10 seconds. Lena, one thing I will tell you is that, yes, premonitions are connected to your intuitive ability. And you can also tell spirit that you don't like to know this information. And so you could certainly ask them to not give you information about people's passing or accidents. Or you can just understand that it's something you're picking up on because it's energy. And, death for us in the spiritual realm isn't necessarily a sad or scary thing. It is for our human being, but it's not for our spiritual soul. And so working as a psychic medium, I see death a lot differently than most of you, because I know that it's just a transition from one form to the other. So, if you also work on your comfort level with death, that won't bother you so much. And just because someone's going to pass doesn't mean that you have to tell them that. You may just be picking up on it because your intuition is strong. Hey, Kim, good to see you as well. Awesome. Well, a couple of things I will tell you for those of you that aren't familiar. I have a website, psychicmediumdanijo.com. You can read about my story, my books. You can also book your sessions there and see the events that I have going on. I'm always teaching or hosting a retreat. And I am on Instagram and TikTok, and my store, Sacred Soul, also has a website and Facebook page, and we sell lots of amazing crystals, and we go live twice a week with that. So go over and follow that page as well. We also do personal shopping. So if you want something but you don't know what you need, we can help you out there. And also, if you haven't read my book or books, they are some pretty cool spiritual tools as well. So my book, Guided, Directed, and Protected, is the first one that I wrote. And that one talks about how I knew I was a medium. The second book is a journal. But my third book is about it's called Illuminate the Dark, and it's about dark energy in the world and how it affects people, how it affected me. And it also gives you great information on how to clear and protect, how to close portals and clear your home and clear your person. So lots of great information there. Can be a little nerve-wracking if you haven't talked or thought about dark energy much in this world, but it's very present and prevalent in our world. So it would be silly to think that it's not around. Also, for those of you that don't know, I also founded a nonprofit for my, I can't get my finger in the right spot, mama right there. She lost her battle to her abuser in 2021, and we have a nonprofit called Shirley Speaks in honor of her. And we have a website for that. We have a butterfly event coming up, and we're always looking for people willing to help out and volunteer, and also donations. So check that out. We do great work with survivors of domestic violence and helping them. We pay for the mental health and healing therapies for them to get them to a better place. You know, Lena, I would always tell you to trust your gut on that. I can never make that determination for you, but you'll know what you need. Just listen. Hi, Jessica. How are you? Also, for any of my local friends who are watching, Tuesday night at the Spearfish Senior Center, Shirley Speaks is going to be presenting at Superstars. And if you come to that, it's $10 to have soup and dessert, and your $10 earns you a vote. And there are 4 amazing organizations that night vying for the money that is raised. And so we're pretty excited to be presenting there. And everybody's welcome. Kids are welcome. Kids get to vote as well. So come out and support us and vote for Shirley Speaks or your favorite organization of the night, and help us keep raising the awareness. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining me tonight. Remember that everyone has a spiritual path. Not everyone will awaken to that in this lifetime, but many will. And our goal here is to become better versions of ourselves and to create and spread good and love and light in the world. And beyond that, we are human, and we have to be kind with ourselves because we are not perfect. We are going to make mistakes, and we just have to keep trying to be better than we were yesterday. All right. You're so very welcome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you all have a beautiful night. Hey, Kim, I would certainly share that with you. My mom was married for 40 years, off and on, to her partner who was her abuser. And unfortunately, after 40 years of abuse, there was an attack that went on for 5 hours that damaged her heart. And she died 8 weeks later. And he is in prison at this time. I fly next weekend to go out and testify at his parole hearing. Anyway, you also can follow our TikTok page for Shirley Speaks. I do share some info on there. And yeah, it's a very personal subject for me, but very important subject to talk about. Yeah, I wish the justice system worked the way that it should. He's only been in there for a year and he's already eligible for parole. But I know that I don't have to worry about that because Spirit has a plan. But yeah, thank you. My mom was a beautiful soul, a lot of challenges in her life, but she taught me a lot of great things too. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right, lovely friends, have a fabulous night. We will talk soon. I have another podcast not too far from now where I have an amazing guest who's going to come on and talk about heart cards. And you'll want to hear all about it from Losha. Okay, see you soon.